Jennifer Mendyke here with your daily 60 seconds of biblical inspiration for your day. Today, like yesterday, I am going to read from 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15. It says, "But sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear." In the Amplified Version, it reads this way: "But in your hearts set Christ apart as holy, and acknowledge him as Lord. Always be ready to give a logical defense to anyone who asks you to account for the hope that is in you, but do it courteously and respectfully." So I'm going to focus on this second part here today. Be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear. Or as the Amplified says, always be ready to give a logical defense to anyone who asks you to account for the hope that is in you, but do it courteously and respectfully. I watched a video, and you see them quite often, where they go out on the street and they ask people what seems to be fairly simple questions. The one yesterday was asking people to identify the Vice President of the United States. And a surprisingly large amount of people didn't know who the Vice President was. They could tell you who the President was, and they complained bitterly about him, and they talked horribly about him, and they talked about how he should be impeached. But they didn't know who the Vice President was. And that just, it frustrates me, because these same people who are calling for one leader to be removed don't realize that they have no clue who the next guy in line is. And so they don't have an answer. They don't have a clue. They don't know what they're talking about, but they're talking. And sometimes it's like that with Christians. When you ask them why they love Jesus, they can give you some pretty basic answers. Oh, because he's so good. Okay. Oh, just because he loves us. Okay. But how is that answer going to touch the heart of somebody who doesn't know Jesus and isn't sure they want to know Jesus? When we give somebody an answer for the hope that's inside of us, when they say, why do these things not bother you? Why are you still happy even though these things have gone on in your life? Why are you able to overcome these things? And you say, well, it's because I trust in the Lord. And they say, well, why do you trust in the Lord? And you say, because he loves me. And they go, well, why does he love you? I mean, we need to be able to tell people what he's done for us in a way that lets them know that he'll do those things for them too. When people start asking us why we're different, why we have hope, why they should act like we act, why should they seek out Jesus? Who is this Jesus, and what can he do for me? We need to give them actual answers. We need to tell them specific things he's done in our lives. Amazing ways he's moved on our behalf. Miraculous things that he has done for us. Because if we can tell people specific, definite reasons why we love Jesus and why we have this hope inside of us, then they start to understand who he could be for them. Too often we just give a generic answer because we don't want to offend people, or we don't want them to challenge us because they have unbelief. Well, I don't want to tell them this amazing thing that God did because they won't believe me, and then they'll say that I'm a liar. It's better just to give them a vanilla answer and have them think that Jesus is nothing special. I get that it's uncomfortable to defend the things that he's done for us, to explain how he could work these miracles to somebody who doesn't believe. But when you tell them these specific, amazing things, and they think there is no way that could happen, and then they sit back later and they think, wow, there really is no way that could happen, but it did. How did that happen? Maybe there is something to this Jesus. Maybe I should start looking into Jesus. Maybe I should find out more about him. Too often we think we have to plant the seed and water the seed and reap the harvest all there at the same time. We don't. Plant the seed. Give them this amazing story of what Jesus did for you. Or water the seed that somebody else planted by reinforcing an amazing thing that Jesus can do. And then let the Lord produce the increase. But we have to tell them. We have to plant the seed. We have to water. If all we're doing is giving them some generic answer, we're leaving them without the hope that we have. So make sure that you have an answer for the hope that lives in you, and a specific one, a specific telling of how the Lord can change lives. Because somebody out there needs to hear your story. They need to hear that so that maybe they can have hope too. Have a wonderful day. God bless. Goodbye.